Is high intensity interval training really the best bang for your buck training if you want to improve your cardio, and especially for those that don't love cardio? And to answer that question, I'm gonna use a little analogy around strength training. First of all, I think both of those are very important, having good cardio and having good levels of strength. A good way to put it that I heard from an MD that I spoke to recently, he was saying that cardio is your longevity parameter and then strength is your function parameter. Yes, it's simplified or oversimplified, but I think all models are wrong, but this one is useful. And so it's a good way to think about your development. And if we focus on strength training for a second, I'll come back to cardio, obviously, and try to link it all together. If you think about strength training, if you're trying to get stronger, well, you need a certain base, first of all, in terms of movement, in terms of technique, before you do something that's really heavy. And obviously here we'd be mostly talking about compound lifts, because if you're using machines in the gym, which by the way I think are totally fine to build your strength, you could totally go and do some heavier stuff. But typically what we'll see on the adaptation side of things is that muscles adapt fast, tendons and ligaments adapt slower, and bone adapts the slowest. So you can have, from what I understand, a turnover in terms of muscle fiber and development within a few weeks, but it's going to take months for all connective tissue such as ligaments and tendons to adapt, and it's going to take 1 year to 2 years for bone to really be impacted or affected by strength training. So what this means is you can go all out right off the bat and only do 3 rep maxes all the time, and you are going to be able to build some strength up to some point, again, if you use machines, because you wouldn't want to jump into some 3RM squats without having a solid base in terms of squat technique and volume. You can do this, but soon enough you're going to run into an issue where your muscles will be very strong, but your tendons and ligaments will not have had the time to adapt as fast, neither will your bones, and you can usually run into some issues when you kind of skip the other types of strength development. And without going into anything too technical, we could just think about rep ranges as proxies for the intensity or type of strength that we're building. And we'll say 3 reps and below, between 3 and 8, 8 and 15, and then above 15, right? And those are arbitrary numbers. They don't mean anything necessarily, but for me, if you're saying, okay, I want to build strength long term, yes, you can start with heavy stuff. Yes, you can do 3 rep maxes on machines to begin with, but you won't be able to do this forever, and that won't be the best path of development for the rest of your life. And if you want to have a good overall strength base, you will need to go through different types of rep ranges, and so different types of intensities on your strength work. For example, have some more strength endurance based work for a period of time to build some muscular endurance, to build vascularization, to build a good base. And then on this, you're going to be able to layer more volume of hypertrophy type work in that, say, 5 to 15 range. Again, yes, you can build muscle mass below 5 reps. This is not the argument here. But the point is to say that you need to go through all rep ranges throughout the year or throughout your training cycle or throughout your training plan in order to get the best overall development in strength and muscle over time. And can you find me someone who's only done 1 rep range forever and that's jacked? Sure, you can find it. But for me, a balanced approach is the best approach. And so if we bring all this back now to conditioning, to cardio, and I had a comment actually asking, what about for those of us that hate cardio, is HIIT the best bang for our buck? Because I want to do it, or I know I have to do it, but I don't want to. And obviously HIIT is short and it's deemed as very effective. But again, same as for the strength work, for me, if you want a good overall development, yes, you can start with HIIT training, but I would start on the bike and not on the run if you're a beginner, because running fast without a good base of running is the best way to get hurt. And I think this is probably one of the reasons why most beginners get hurt in running. They don't have the foot strength, they don't have the specific ankle, shin, and calf strength that they need, or development that they need to actually tolerate and assimilate running or high volumes of running. You have to think about your foot, ankle, and lower leg complex as the spring. And if you don't have a spring, then you're literally just launching your body into the ground with every step, and your knees, hips, and back are gonna have to compensate for that lack of spring. So that's why I think the volume of development at low intensity and the specific strength exercises for your toes, for your feet, for your ankles, for your lower leg, all those things are paramount if you're a beginner in running, and they're gonna help you keep injuries as far as possible over the months and years of training that are ahead of you. But starting with HIIT training and running, bad idea in my opinion. Have some people managed to do it? Sure. Does it mean everybody should do it? In my estimation, not. If you want to start with HIIT training, get on a bike, get on an eco bike, get on a ski erg, something like this, where there's less technical constraints and there isn't that kind of risk of doing any damage because of your lack of volume and training history, right? So HIIT training for beginners, very effective, yes, especially if it's done right. For example, on a bicycle, but not on the run. But you are eventually gonna have to run into the issue if you're only doing HIIT training for your cardio. At some point, the analogy I like to use is the one of the car, where you start with a, in France, there's this old car called the Citroën C2, because it has 2 horsepower, tiny little engine, obviously a tiny little chassis. It's a tiny little car. My aunt used to have one. I remember driving in it. It was a lot of fun because it weighed nothing, but it still moved. But that's you as a beginner. And the problem, if you're only doing HIIT training all the time, you can imagine taking that 2CV Citroën and putting a massive engine into it, right? Put a V8 turbocharged engine into that tiny little chassis. Well, that's not gonna work, right? As soon as you press on the accelerator, everything's gonna break down, the wheels are gonna fall off, you're gonna fold the chassis in half. And that's essentially what I see happening with people that have only done HIIT training or high intensity work without the endurance base to go with it. And so where I'm going with the story is that HIIT training might be a great way to start. It might be the best bang for your buck according to the science. But if you look at training long-term, you need to explore all intensity levels, low, medium, high, and very high intensity, so sprint type work. We need all of it, and we just need to organize it intelligently based on our level, based on our goals, and based on our personal makeup. Whatever are you more of a sprinter? Are you more of an endurance person? What's your background in sports? What are your current goals? What are you training for? All those questions need to be part of the story. And so yes, HIIT training is great to start. Yes, it's gonna drive up your VO2 max. Yes, VO2 max is linked to your performance and your health, but don't be fooled and think that you only need HIIT for the rest of your life, because it's not gonna work that way. Your body's not gonna like it. Your brain's not gonna like it. At some point, it gets tiring to only push yourself to the max all the time. Every time you wanna train, you have to literally go to the end of the rope and try to give everything that you have. You have to go there sometimes, but you don't have to go there all the time. So my recommendation would be use HIIT training at the start if it's going to keep you motivated, because you're going to see fast gains. But don't forget to switch to lower intensities, the low intensity, the medium intensity. Don't forget to switch to those types of training once you feel like high intensity is not providing the same returns as it maybe did at the beginning. And that's usually where people get stuck, is when they have to transition, when they have to switch how they operate. It's like shifting gears, right? And only using high intensity all the time is like being in first gear only and never going into second gear. And for me, second gear means you need to change how you operate. It means you cannot just be all out all the time. You need to balance out your high intensity with some lower intensity. You need to build some volume, build some capacity that will help you train harder and will help you sustain more hard training. That is important to understand. There's a huge transfer between the volume of training that you do and the amount of high intensity work that you can tolerate, not only tolerate, but recover from we go back to this. It's not just about being tired, it's about adapting to training. And this is extremely important. If you want to learn more about those concepts, I have a mini guide, 4 videos that are recorded for you. You can sign up for them directly in the description. If you have other questions regarding training for me, please leave them in the comments below. Always a pleasure to exchange with you guys and to share, trying to drive more content in English, and your comments help me do this. So please keep the comments coming. Please keep the requests for other topics to cover coming as well. I don't respond to all the comments, but I read absolutely all of them, usually multiple times. So I look forward to reading yours, and I'll see you in the next video.